Replay viewers, welcome to Chris Strub's Nonprofit Spotlight, episode number 2. It's 4 p.m. It is also Wednesday, so you're probably saying to yourself, Chris, I thought this show was Mondays. You are correct. So we will see you again back here next Monday for episode 3. Unfortunately, we had a family situation this week. I had a death in the family, so could not do the show on Monday, but we're back here today for episode 2, which I've very much been looking forward to, with my good buddy, Sarah McDowell, who will join us here in just a moment. So if you're watching live, I want to say hello to all of the people who are here, like Natasha, Sandra Santorino, Margot Kelly is here. My boy Santos is here. Much love, Santos. Now, the one thing that I will tell you is I have a little ring light on my phone that lights up the smile here. So I can't tell how many people are watching, but I can see who is in the comments. So if you are here, I would very much love for you to keep up with the comments, keep the conversation going, even say hi to some of the other folks who are here in the room with you. That is awesome. We're going to bring Sarah in here in just a second. But again, I wanted to say thank you to all of you who are watching. I really do appreciate it. This again is Chris Strub's Nonprofit Spotlight, episode 2. We're going to try and keep the show to about 15 minutes total. So we're going to maximize the value of your time. I'm not here to waste your time. I know your time is valuable. So without further ado, let's get Sarah in here. What's up, CLO? What's up, everybody? Can you guys hear me okay? Michael C. Voices, you guys can see and hear me okay, right? And I need Sarah to send me another invite because Santos just sent me an invite to join instead. So Sarah, if you want to resend me that invite real quick. And before we get going here, my name is Chris Strub, first person to live stream and Snapchat in all 50 U.S. states, the author of 50 States, 100 Days, the book, which I have here in my hand. This book stars many of the wonderful non-profiteers from around America. And now I can get Sarah in here. So as we wait, again, keep those comments coming. I can't tell you guys how much the comments really mean. CLO, Michael C. Voices, Margot, and there she is, Sarah McDowell. Hello, hello, Sarah. Thank you so much for being here. Good to see you.
Well, good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, Sarah McDowell is an executive level professional with experience in social media, government relations, marketing and communications, and development. She just left a role as executive director of Big Brothers Big Sisters of South Central West Virginia, which we'll talk about, and is now the owner of the Media Squirrel for the last couple of years. So we'll talk about that as well. She was co-host of the 2017 Big Brothers Big Sisters of America National Conference on Facebook Live. See, I got my shirt on here, Sarah McDowell.
I saw that.
That is where I'd love to start our conversation. So let's start right there. Many nonprofits have events. Some national nonprofits have big conventions like this. Tell us about BBBS Together. The Big Brothers Big Sisters of America National Conference last year was in San Diego. And tell us a little bit about how that organization used Facebook Live to share its story.
Well, so you're right. This, by the way, was the first time Big Brothers Big Sisters of America had used Facebook Live on that scale. And I think it was in large part, I think, to you and me convincing them that this is where they needed to go.
Sure.
And so we were able to share the mission and message to not just people who were there at the conference, but everywhere who was watching, who was maybe interested. We did interviews with the Big Brother, Big Sister of the Year. Let's see, who else was there? Frankie Muniz was there, and Kate Snow. We did interviews with them. And we did some interviews with affiliate leaders and staff and talked about, you know, what are the challenges? What's the most rewarding part of your job? And so sometimes it was those simple conversations that really resonated with people who were watching.
Now, full disclosure, Sarah and I, as she mentioned, we were very involved with this setup last year. We were the co-hosts together. We had a lot of great conversations, not just with some of the celebrities that you mentioned, you know, Frankie Muniz, Kate Snow, Daryl Green was there from the Mr. Redskin himself. But we really love the conversations with, as you mentioned, the affiliate leaders, some of the board members and stuff. Talk a little bit about how natural those conversations felt. If people haven't seen some of these videos, what kind of things did we talk about? And did it seem forced? Did people seem comfortable? Tell us what the experience was like.
It was conversations. And I actually remember at one point we were talking to an affiliate leader and I mentioned something about a program that she and I have been talking about. And you asked what program, and literally at that minute it went right out of my head. And so it was live, but it's a conversation. And so we talked to them about, again, what it means to make a match, what it means to see an at-risk youth who was really struggling be matched with a big brother or a big sister, and then really become more confident, more self-assured, do better academically. It lowers risky behaviors. And of course, as an affiliate leader, I've seen it. I've seen these kids come in and we match them with a mentor. And in the beginning, they won't look at you. They won't talk to you. It's very, they're hesitant to answer questions. And then after a few outings with their mentors, they're different kids. They know someone is there to believe in them, to help them achieve what they want and succeed in life.
And so if you missed this event last year, again, it was awesome. We actually got over 52,000 organic views on our Facebook Live broadcast over the course of 3 days, which is astonishing. 52,000 organic views. But I do want to ask you as well, Sarah, we had a long series of phone calls and emails and everything in the months leading up to the conference. And I think what a lot of people might wonder about is the work that goes into getting to that point. Can you talk a little bit about the planning that was done? Again, when we got there, we were given basically a schedule, of all the people that we were going to speak to. So talk a little bit about how important it is to plan out live streaming an event like that.
Well, yeah, it's really critically important. I think our conversation started in February. The event was in June. So all during that time, we were talking about how this was going to work, the setup. Obviously, thank you to Facebook Live for doing that as well, and all the participants who were allowed us to kind of share the programming and what we were doing. And so, yeah, it's a lot of planning. You have to be prepared. You've done this your whole life. You're very good at it. I'm kind of one of those people who does better off the script. If I'm giving a speech, I'm more natural when it's just a conversation and kind of bullet points. But yeah, it's important to plan on the back end to make sure that everything's in place. Do you have good Wi-Fi? You've got your schedule, your lineup of people ready to go. And if there's any glitches, what's your plan B?
Sure. So I want to ask you too, you've done a lot of live streams now. You've been sort of at the forefront of this this movement, if you will, over the last few years. I want you to try and think back to when you got started with live streaming. Was it difficult for you to press that button? Was it a challenge mentally? And how have you overcome those challenges?
Well, honestly, it started with you, Chris. I've always been really, I'm one of those people that evolves and adapts very quickly. So with technology, I'm always interested, what's the newest thing here? And so when you came to visit, and it was like, push the button. And so I don't know why I waited so long. So you kind of gave me that gentle push. And as you can see, I'm very comfortable talking, and obviously being in fundraising and government relations and lobbying, those types of things, you have to be able to converse well and be articulate. So no, I was very comfortable once I got started. Snapchat kind of made me a little nervous, but I think everybody feels that way. But once you get started, and here's what's great. I'm going to divert a little bit. When we had a little bit of a crisis at our affiliate last year, we lost some major funding. And before social media, before live streaming, we would have spent weeks on the phone calling our donors. And that is so time consuming. We sent out a statement on social media. We did a live stream, and literally we reached thousands of people. And then we reached a few key individuals who were really interested in our cause. And that's what led to us being able to fundraise in a very short period of time and make up what we lost. Whereas before social media, it would have been a very difficult time. It would have been very strung out in terms of time frames. And so today, social media live streaming is really evolving how nonprofits can share their mission and message, connect with donors, connect with people who want to know more, who may not even know you're there. And so it's a great forum that nonprofits just aren't using enough of. And I'm glad that we're doing this. And so helping those nonprofits to push the button, get involved, just, get on there and talk. Have a conversation.
And quick segue. Reminder that our show today is brought to you by our sponsor, which is my online course, Live Streaming for Nonprofits. If you go to academy.teamstrub.com, you can sign up for that course. So if you're a nonprofit, you're curious how to get started, there are a lot of lessons from last week's guest as well, Cara Baribeau. You'll see some lessons that I've learned from Sarah McDowell in West Virginia as well. And you kind of just answered my next question here, which was trying to look back. I know that you're the former owner of Tressa Designs, 1997 to 2010. So think about how different things are now than they were then. But really the challenges are the same, which are trying to get people aware of your brand. Do you feel like it's easier to build awareness now using live streaming than it was, back in the 2000s?
Oh, absolutely. But you have to plan. I keep going back to that plan. You have to have a plan. And in today's, I remember when I remember getting on AOL for the very first time, and it was dial-up. But right. So, traditional marketing is still valuable. And there are elements of that have to carry over in today's digital marketing. But yes, it's a key component. And every nonprofit, every small business, every private sector, even government agencies need to start factoring in live streaming, social media, digital marketing into their strategic plan in order to get their message out, to promote their brand, to share their mission. Even candidates, running for office. Think about just 20 years ago, door to door. That took hours, and right. You would do it for weeks. And now you get on social media, you have a live stream, you answer questions. It's like a town hall forum right there.
Well, you talk about the forum idea, and let's pivot to the community and the collaborative nature of things. You mentioned how you've always kind of been on the forefront, but now these days we get to build relationships so much faster. I know Sandra Centorino and yourself have become very close friends over the years. I want to say thank you to Sandra who's watching, but I want to ask you, who else do you watch? Who else do you learn from in the social media space, in the live streaming space? Who are you drawing lessons from to try and draw inspiration?
Oh, goodness. Chelsea Peets, Christy Gillentine, Blake Croft, Brian Fanzo. Of course, I watch you all the time. Sandra Centorino, who even on the worst of days, you go on to Sandra's live stream and you feel better already. Those are just a few off the top of my head. I'm going
to throw one more at you. How about Mario Armstrong?
Mario Armstrong is a great one. And by the way, the swag bag I got was, it was wonderful. Thank you, Mario. But yeah, Mario's another good one. And Rebecca Council, so many, there's so many people who are known, and then there's some who aren't so well known.
Right. Sarah, again, you guys can see Sarah B and WV is her username if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or listening to the podcast somewhere. Yeah. See, she's got the West Virginia shirt on there. So I have to ask you a question about West Virginia, which you are so passionate about. You're based there, of course, in Charleston. Talk a little bit about why West Virginia finds itself in crisis. And also, we learned some of these stories, I think, in the season premiere of Anthony Bourdain's show just a couple months ago or a few weeks ago. And unfortunately, we just lost Anthony Bourdain last week. So talk a little bit about those two things. Why is West Virginia a state in crisis, and how can people reach out and get help if they're listening maybe in West Virginia?
Well, I'll start out by saying West Virginia is absolutely one of the most beautiful places people can visit. That's the first thing. But we do find ourselves in crisis. We are the drug overdose death capital of the nation. So we have more people dying of drug overdose deaths than anywhere else. We have the highest number of kids in foster and congregate care. I believe we're either first, second, or third for grandparents raising grandchildren. So we have this storm of trauma and loss, and children are really the ones who are being impacted the most. And so as a result of you and I meeting 4 years ago, I think it was now,
3 years ago.
we're getting ready to launch. This is not public yet, so we're gonna just throw it out there now. We're getting ready to launch what's called the 9,000 to None initiative. So since 2001, 9,000 West Virginians have been lost. 9,000 daughters, sons, mothers, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, neighbors, friends, colleagues have died by taking a drug and either accidentally overdosing or in some cases, I think, purposely. And so the goal is to recruit 9,000 mentors for 9,000 kids. We have over 7,000 children in foster care, and we have children living in hotel rooms with DHHR staff. So that's how critical this is. So we're going to be asking everybody to come to the table, and we're working with Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts and Boys and Girls Club, and we're working with all these different YMCA, all these different organizations to not just match the child with a mentor, but then also get them involved in an organized activity. And this is going to be done in large part through social media. We're getting ready to do a West Virginia Live series. This is really brand new and it's taking off like wildfire. Next Wednesday is West Virginia Day. So we've invited local artisans and small business owners, and we're going to do a live series all day long featuring West Virginians on West Virginia Day.
That's awesome. Well, I wish you a happy West Virginia Day and the very best of luck with that campaign as well. There really is, guys. There's no one that I know that works harder at what she does than Sarah McDowell, who has become a very, very close friend of mine, a confidant, someone that I know that I can reach out to anytime. And I know that she would extend that same invitation to you guys watching on Instagram as well.
Absolutely.
Sarah B. and WV. And of course, if you want to learn more about Sarah, you can grab your copy of 50 States, 100 Days, the book. I got to plug it there real quick.
That's right. I have mine.
She's got hers, both, of course, as well. Sarah, let's get you one more question here, and then we'll wrap things up. What is your single best piece of advice to someone who has not done a live stream yet, but maybe considering it?
Find a mentor. Find a mentor. And you know, people always seem to think a mentor has to be older than you. No, they don't. I consider you a social media mentor, and obviously there's an age difference there. But find someone who knows, who's doing it already. And you have said this time and time again, I cannot overemphasize the importance of nonprofits and small business using social media and leveraging it to their advantage. It's cost effective, you reach more people, but you have to do it right, you have to do it well, and you have to have a plan. But I would say get with someone who knows what they're doing or wants to learn along with you, and yeah, make that connection. It's like you said, social media, a lot of people say it's so disconnected, but that's not the case. I've made friendships with people I've never met before. I met Christy Gillantine for the first time in St. Louis a couple months ago, but we've been connected on social media for years. So
right.
It's about connecting with people.
It's all about connecting. And if you're watching in West Virginia, go make sure you celebrate West Virginia Day with Sarah next Wednesday. That sounds like so much fun. If you want to connect with me, I'll be speaking at Social Media Day Wichita, June 27th, and Social Media Day Denver, June 29th. I'll be back in Louisville, as we talked about last week, for Give for Good Louisville on September 13th. Sarah McDowell, episode 2. Thank you so much. This has been absolutely fantastic. And of course, I will chat with you again real soon. Appreciate you as always. Really, I mean everything that I say. You're one of my favorite people on earth, and you've been so kind, generous to me. I appreciate it so much, and I'm sure we'll talk again real soon. Thank you, Sarah.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
And that's it for episode 2 of Chris Strub's Nonprofit Spotlight. Hope you guys enjoyed the show, whether you're watching here live on Instagram or you're watching a replay on Instagram, on YouTube, Facebook, wherever the show ends up. Maybe we'll rip it for a podcast. We'll make Blake do some of that work. Get your copy of 50 States, 100 Days, the book now on Amazon. Best of luck to everyone later this month back in St. Louis for the Big Brothers Big Sisters of America National Conference 2018. Michael C. Voice, Sandra Santorino, Ross Woods, everybody watching, Natasha, you guys are the best. Stay tuned. I'll be back next Monday for episode 3 of Chris Strub's Nonprofit Spotlight with Meridian Herman from the Salvation Army of Chicago. So we'll talk a little bit about the Fight for Good tour. We'll talk a little bit about the emergency and disaster relief services in Chicago. And until next time, I will be back Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern. Check out teamstrub.com to learn more, and I'll see you guys real soon.